we've been hearing a lot ever since the brother came out with the whole down low book. JL. How that phenomena has impacted HIV cases in the black community. And with your expertise, what role do you think the whole down low plays?
You know, I mean, clearly, women, this is what we know about the statistics. We know that black women are disproportionately impacted by HIV. Mm-hmm. We know that somewhere about 54% of all black women who are infected with HIV are infected because they had sex with a man. So that means that men are infecting women, mm-hmm. Black women. What we aren't really sure about is how their partners have become infected. Okay. Because there are some men who may fit in a couple categories: men who have sex with men, and or men who use IV drug use. Sure. You know, IV drug use is really a major problem. Also in our community, we think it's crack, it's heroin. We can move beyond the whole crack issue. Okay. It really is heroin. Now, clearly, there are men who have sex with men who then have sex with women. And that is a risk factor. Mm-hmm. That puts us at risk for HIV. But you know, JL is a real good friend of mine, and he and I, you know, have talked, and I said, you know, JL, I don't want to confuse the issue, and I don't want to demonize black men. And I think this whole down low issue demonizes black men, and it demonizes the discussion. The discussion should be in the African American community. How can we talk about sexuality? How can we talk about homosexuality in a way that it creates space for men to say, I'm gay, I don't want to date a woman. You know, a single man come walking up in grandmama's house without a woman year after year, the first thing people want to say, it must be gay. And so I think that if we create space to have productive dialogue about homosexuality, is that we will have less men on the down low. I don't think men want to be on the down low. I think they're on the down low because they have no choice, because their backs is against the wall, because the black community has not really talked about homosexuality. And I think that's been a big issue in our community. Now, and this is the other issue. Instead of black women running around here trying to figure out if my man is sleeping with another man, mm-hmm. she should be thinking about, how do I keep myself safe? How do I take care? Because it really is about, how do I take care of me? Mm-hmm. It's not about what my partner is doing. So whether your partner is with Bob or with Barbara, you are keeping yourself safe and free. And that's about giving women some control over their bodies and their lives. You don't have to lay down with a man without a condom if you don't want to. Sure. You make a choice. We make a choice. And so let's not, yeah, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. I'm admitting there is a problem with men on the down low. But I think the discussion is moving in a direction that's unhealthy for us. Okay. Point taken. Well, at least in WL's case. JL. I'm sorry. JL. That's okay. JL, that WL is another guy that does another. He does another show. He does another show. And I don't think he's... right. I don't want to keep you... JL. He was married. He was married, and his wife just released a book for women. And you know, and I did a show with her, and I was a little skeptical. Okay. But I get her point, that there are women whose partners, whose husbands were married but living this double life. Right. And so, you know, what she's tried to do is to help women heal, to learn how to forgive. How do you forgive a black man who has deceived you? How do you heal from those wounds? And JL's actually just written a new book. He sent it to me in the mail. I didn't know that he was going to do it, but he just wrote a new book about how to go through this journey in the closet, and how do you heal once you come out. I haven't read it yet. I just got it in the mail this week, so I'm actually going to read it to hear what my brother has to say. Oh, okay. It should be very interesting. I hope he's admitting that he's gay. That's fine. Okay, well, let's move on. But let me just say this. The one thing that JL has done is he's created a whole lot of dialogue about it. People are talking about it that have never talked about it before. Right. And you know what? It moves us into a positive direction on where we should be. I just hope that we make the conversation productive as opposed to demonizing black men. Black men have been demonized enough from slavery to now.
I got you. I was also struck by your 1997 article in Emerge magazine. And one of the things that stuck out in that interview, I was interested to see that you were a little bit dissatisfied with how many other notable African Americans in the community have kind of glossed over the effect of AIDS. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Well, you know, the reality is that HIV has impacted our community in a way, and to whom much is given, much is required. And, you know, I have been critical of some of other AIDS activists. So I've been a little critical of Magic. I think that he has not, quite frankly, taken ownership to his HIV status. And, you know, the reality is that you cannot help people heal with half-truths and misinformation, or, you know, and I don't know, some of it is, you know, is he not articulating it right? Does he not understand it? And you confuse the public.
Right.
When you aren't candid, when you aren't forthright, when you haven't taken ownership to it. Now, by the same token, everybody is not an AIDS activist, nor should everybody be an AIDS activist. We look at Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe never wanted to be public with his HIV. He was forced into the public realm with his HIV status. And I think probably in many ways Magic has been forced. He's quite frankly a better businessman than he is as an AIDS activist. I know I buy my tea from his Starbucks. And so the point is that everywhere I go, I get asked, does Magic have AIDS? And I have to answer that question, so because black folks are confused and they're not quite sure, and they want to know, honestly, does Magic have access to something I don't have access to?
Right.
And the reality is no, that there are programs where, you know, people can get treatment for HIV. And so, you know, in some ways he's helped, but in other ways he's hurt us.
And you're absolutely right, because I still get into debates about people. It's very common for me to hear people say, well, Magic don't have AIDS. You know, look at him. I mean, Magic don't have AIDS, and it could be it could be very confusing, because I'm like, well, he does have AIDS.
You know, and then this is the other thing too. People, I get beat up sometimes by how I look, because I dress so well and I'm always put together. Yeah, I have some, you know, little AIDS medicine is sucking my chin, saying, giving me fat chin here. And so I have a little medicine fat and some medicine skinny pockets. But, you know, face to face, I look pretty doggone good. And I'm always well-groomed and well-kept. And I say to people, well, should I not look well-groomed? Should I not be well-kept because I have AIDS? You know, do you want me to look down and out? If I look down and out, the first thing you say, oh, here she come again, won't that girl take a bath or something? And so, you know, one of the things that I hope to do, and I think at some level this is what Magic does as well, is to show that, yeah, you can also live with HIV, and that is the major point, that you can live with this disease.
Absolutely. Let's move on. Your speaking style has been criticized in the past for being too graphic or straightforward, if you will, with the ugliness of the disease and the other side that Magic don't talk about very much. Do you remain unapologetic for your
Very.
your
I remain unapologetic, because I said it a few minutes ago, I said again, you cannot save lives with half-truths and misinformation, and especially with young people, because they're looking for integrity, they're looking for someone to be forthright with them.